The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN. Monday morning, 8:30 a.m., 60 minutes to go until that opening bell. Thanksgiving week. We got 3 days Thanksgiving. Then we got a shortened half day on Friday. Right now, market's kicking things off in positive territory. We get some more vaccine news. This one coming from AstraZeneca. A little bit of a less efficacy in terms of maybe in the ballpark of 70% they're coming out in terms of one of the dosings, yielding as high as approaching 90, not quite as strong as the results as Moderna and Pfizer. The thing about the AstraZeneca vaccine is that much easier to store and ship. If you recall, Moderna, their vaccine can only be stored refrigeration for about 30 days. Long storage. AstraZeneca, their vaccine can be stored in regular refrigeration over long periods of time. When it comes to vaccinating the whole globe, which will have to happen, basically, America, borders are kind of shut down. Of course, we're hoping to get the shots here in America. If you're in America, wherever you are, you want the shots. But when it comes to poorer regions of the world, a vaccine like this, even at 70% efficacy, and they might be able to get it higher than that according to the dosing. They still have a little bit more to go with this one, it seems like. The data not quite as concrete, but the storage ability for the globe, poorer areas that don't have that super cold storage that's necessary for the other two, some good news on there. And 70%, if we weren't dealing with the other two vaccines, 70% would have been a great number. So that out over the weekend, and we get an acceleration. You look at where we are, though. I'm going to back up the S&P futures as we kick things off. So Friday action, quite the sell-off to end Friday action. Check out this acceleration. It was about 13 minutes is how it happened. So I pulled it up, 47 past. We're sitting there in the S&Ps at approaching a price level of 35.71. Interestingly enough, right? The market is positive right now, folks, by 20 points. But we are within, how many points? We're within 2 points of where we were at 3:47 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, to be exact. In the final 13 minutes, you trade from above 35.70 to below 35.45, right into about 4:15 Eastern time. You climb higher right out of the gate last night to kind of right where you closed at Friday, right? By about 8 p.m. Eastern time last night, the futures were hovering at 35.65. Europe opens. We trade higher as well. We're currently sitting at 35.73. NASDAQ up about 40 points. You see the sell-off on Friday as well. The NASDAQ went from about 12,000 at about 2:30. You end the day at 11,880. We're currently trading 11,945. The Dow is up 170 points, 29,381. And the Russell up almost 1%, up 0.9 at 17.99 right now. Crude continuing to catch a bid. Great vaccine news, opening back up the economy. Crude's trading higher to the tune of about 45 cents right now. Crude's trading at 42.87. We get the gold contract down $9 at 18.63. Silver's down 28 cents at 24.08. And notes and bonds getting a little bit of lower price and higher yield. Checking out the yield right now. We're looking at a yield of 0.854%. The 10-year is off of 5 ticks at 138.10, and the 30-year is off 15 ticks at 173.19. We'll jump over to the VIX. Volatility index spiked a bit on the sell-off on Friday. You see the big jump from about 22.80 to end the day at almost 23.60. Currently trading at 23.25 for the volatility index with about 55 minutes to go until the opening bell. Okay, jumping over to the headline. We'll start it off with AstraZeneca. The headline is, there it is, highly effective in preventing COVID. And as I stated, if we weren't dealing with 90% prior to this for Pfizer and Moderna and their vaccines, 70% would have been great, and 90% actually was yielded for one of two regimens, using half a dose followed by a full one later, close to the high bar set by Pfizer. So if they took half a dose and then a full dose, 90% effective. If they just got 2 doses, I believe it was 62% effective. I was looking at some analysis this morning on that. And, saying when you start sparsing applications like that, you're dealing with smaller samples, obviously, when you're saying, okay, we gave this dosing, we gave that dosing. If you're given smaller samples, right, it's statistics class 101, folks. You're dealing with smaller samples. You're going to have larger variances, and you're going to have less confidence in those intervals. Or if you want the same confidence, if you want a 95% confidence level, you might have a larger area of variance to have that 95% if you're dealing with less samples. So they're still pushing forward with this. They're going to focus now on that half dose, full dose, as they mentioned. But yeah, the full 2 dosage showed an efficacy of 62%. Among those who received the vaccine, though, now this study that they just released is for the UK and Brazil. 131 participants have contracted the virus within that study. No severe cases and no participants were hospitalized. And they're going to submit data for peer review in the next 24 hours. And they dropped as much. We'll pull up AZN, AstraZeneca. Now, the larger U.S. trial, which could be key for approval here, they say there, 10,500 people with both doses. So they tried the half dose, full dose, and then the full dose, full dose. Nonetheless, that news out, strong vaccine news, continues to be good news all around in the vaccine frontier. How long it's going to take, that's the next story, right? They got a cool graphic in here talking about countries hedge their bets, reserving various shot candidates. So we got the 3 out there, Moderna in the blue, Pfizer in the green or aqua, and AstraZeneca in the purple. You see whether it's the U.S., right? Moderna and Pfizer, 100 million doses. When you look at AstraZeneca, you're talking about 500 million reserved. India, they got 500 million of the AstraZeneca. The EU, a big AstraZeneca, as well as a big purchase of 300 million of the Pfizer vaccine. JP Morgan with an interesting article out here talking about rotation and rotation from rebalancing from stock flows. Been quite an acceleration for stocks recently. Large multi-asset investors may need to rotate money into bonds from stocks after strong equity performance so far this month. Strategist wrote in a note on Friday, and they're talking about 60-40 portfolios, U.S. defined benefit pension plans, and some big investors like banks, which manage Norway's sovereign wealth fund, and the Japanese government pension plan. We see some vulnerability in the equity markets in the near term from balanced mutual funds, a $7 trillion universe having to sell around $160 billion in equities globally to revert to their 60-40 allocation by the end of November. And if markets continue to climb, the key here, we're up 20 points this morning on the S&P, 22 now, and you put the context of the daily, this is the VIX, let's back it up to the S&P. And as you see, November 2nd, you were trading at a price level. Where are we? No, October 30th. Yeah, so you end October at a close of 32.78. You're trading up literally 299 points right now, which you're approaching about 9% positive for the month in equities, buying the S&P 500 at the close of October and November. I mean, talk about a rocket ship. From October, there's November 2nd, election day, November 3rd. Quite a 3, 4, 5, 6 days. You go from 32.50 to 36.68, and we've just been kind of hanging right up at this level right now at 35.77 with the S&Ps up 22 points, NASDAQ up 48, and the Dow up 203 this morning at 29,417. How about that all-time print of 30,000 on the 9th of October? Stay tuned, folks. We've got a big week of retail earnings tomorrow in a short week for Thanksgiving. We'll go over some of those equities. We'll be right back.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. The printing presses are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The U.S. deficit has risen 200% in 1 year with no end in sight. The markets are looking for an additional stimulus bill to get us through this once-in-a-generation pandemic. There is no free lunch, folks. The more stimulus dollars put into the marketplace, the less your dollar is worth each and every day. This is the time to protect yourself with a portion of your portfolio in the metal market. The Gold Report comes out each Monday morning. I bisect and dissect the dollar, silver, gold, the XAU, and the HUI. The Gold Report is a long-term hedge against the dilution of your buying power. The U.S. has put more than $6 trillion into the marketplace in the last 6 months, with more expected in the next few months. The market did and does need the stimulus, but it will have long-term implications on our buying power. The Gold Report comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to TFNN.com and order the Gold Report now. Protect your buying power. Order the Gold Report now.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. I was just about to jump over and talk about Regeneron, but we got to jump back to the S&Ps right now. Check out the action, folks, with some volatility. The S&Ps, I don't know what just came out. I haven't hit it yet, but we just dropped from 35.78 to 35.62 in a heartbeat right now. We're trading at 35.66, still up about 12 points. This market jumping around in pretty dramatic fashion as I try and find out what's hitting it, but something is hitting it, whether it's buying, selling, something. Quite the range that we just got on this 840 bar in the S&Ps. This is a 5-minute bar right now that we're looking at in the S&Ps. Okay, we'll find out in a few minutes because something is driving this thing when you move 15, 16 points in a matter of a few seconds right now. Jumping back to Regeneron, talk about some acceleration. So Regeneron, they received emergency authorization for their, pulling it up, FDA authorizes the COVID treatment, the one taken by President Trump for emergency use, experimental therapy. Regeneron CoV-2, reduce the amount of virus-associated damage. Monoclonal antibodies. That's the one I was looking for. So they received that over the weekend. The market, there's your pop to 560, but we've paired a lot of that right now. We're back to about 533.97 right now on Regeneron shares. Okay, what else we got going on? There are some upgrades and downgrades. Roku getting an upgrade, quite an acceleration, even from Thursday. Talking about 2 trading days on a company like Roku, and you just went from basically 230 up to 270. You added $40. You're talking about almost 15% that you added to the price. We're up again this morning. On the flip side of that, Foot Locker, they're getting a downgrade after their earnings. Foot Locker, tough day on them on Friday. You spiked to 44.18 originally. You ended the day in negative territory. This morning, you see that volatility on their downgrade, a little bit lower this morning. Okay, speaking of retail, jumping around to what we got going on. We got a big week of retail earnings. Closed for the Thanksgiving holiday. TFNN will actually be closed on Friday as well. I think it's the only day of the year, there might be 1 or 2, that we, during market hours, we won't be live. Half day on Friday. The only reason that the markets are open, folks, is that it's required. The indices cannot be closed for 4 continuous days. So if they were closed for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so what they do is they sneak in a half day on Friday. so they're not closed. You got to have price discovery for efficient markets, right? So we got some price discovery on Friday. It'll be a very, very slow week, but we have a big day of earnings tomorrow. All right, so let's go through some of them. We got Best Buy. Their earnings tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., conference call following that. Best Buy, they're projecting revenue $11 billion. Some of these companies, I'm going to put out my newsletter, Rocket Equities and Options, folks. Check it out on the front page of TFNN. You can always find all of our newsletters under the newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN. We get some fun earnings. Best Buy, one of the companies, you're going to see some volatility priced into this company number one. All right, we're up a bit from 119 to 121. The markets are up as well, but if you're in this market, you see some of these stocks really reacting prior to their numbers, accelerating in one way or the other. And Best Buy shares looking, so they already have the one-day expected move because they'll be coming out with their numbers before tomorrow, looking at about $7.50. So a decent move, right? Almost 6-7% the market pricing in on their volatility because, man, they're at a very interesting time in terms of how is their online acceleration in sales, where people still buying things for their home office or electronic, building out their house, as I'm sure was the case early on in COVID restrictions and people staying at home. We also get Dollar Tree before the market tomorrow. Again, retail. Conference call following that. Earnings, $1.15. How about $6 billion? $6.13 billion they'll be looking for their earnings. Dick's Sporting Goods before the market tomorrow. Conference call at 10 a.m. They're looking for revenue of $2.24 billion. They tie it back. One of the analysts here. No, this is Jim Cramer. Foot Locker delivered some terrific numbers today at the stock got slammed. We just pulled up Foot Locker, right? I fear the same thing's going to happen with Dick's. Folks, this is happening across the board, okay? A lot of the strategies, and it's very dependent. You got to look at every equity, okay? But then I'm deploying is you can be severely bullish in Best Buy, but we just pulled up the market. I mean, they're pricing in a $7 plus move in that equity. That means if you buy a call and a put at the money, you're going to be buying a put for $350 and you'll be buying a call for $350, right? You're buying volatility, you're buying a move in either direction, and you're paying $7 total. It's about what's going to happen where this market is priced. Well, if you get a pop to 124, 125, for some context here, folks, Best Buy just went from 48 to 120, right? There is tremendous acceleration priced into this equity. And look at what happened the last time this equity had earnings on a couple occasions. We had it in August. Stock trails off, right? You just traded from 90 to 120 coming into their earnings, all right? Again, you back it up to May. We had just traded from 50 to 90. It takes you from those May numbers all the way to almost the end of July to get above that price tag. There's a lot of growth already priced into these equities. A lot of them are coming out with great numbers. We saw it with Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's. Target accelerated higher, but Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, great numbers, actually didn't accelerate higher, if not traded lower last week on their numbers. So Best Buy, they're up about $2 ahead of their numbers coming in to tomorrow. Jumping back to that screen with some of the other equities, just a lot of companies coming in on Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Burlington Coat Factory, they'll be looking for revenue of $1.55 billion. Medtronic's out with their numbers, projected revenue $7.08 billion. Conference call at 8 a.m. Hormel's out with their numbers. JM Smucker, Analog Devices, Dell, VMware, Nordstrom, JWM. Let's look at this equity. $3.31 billion. We saw Macy's, right, out with their numbers last week, accelerating higher from where we were on November 5th at 6. I mean, you're up 50% this equity this month, right? But when you deal with small numbers and a company almost going bankrupt. JWM, Nordstrom, pretty similar chart. Now, again, they already accelerated higher on the Macy's numbers, so they have to live up to them now, as they're going to be coming out with their numbers on the heels of Macy having pretty good numbers. You also get American Eagle Outfitters, and you get the Gap. And on Wednesday, John Deere, the big one there, I believe. So big numbers in a big way, pulling it up. They got a nice little graphic here. We'll throw it up before the end. I mean, look at all of these equities that we get tomorrow. Best Buy, Gap, Dell, Analog Devices, Dick's, Burlington, Nordstrom, VMware, Dollar Tree, pretty cool, John Deere, and then that's right, Thanksgiving. On this graph, simple way to segue the election. So we're going to get probably certification of 2 states, I believe, today. We'll see how things plays out. You're seeing some Republicans. I believe you had the Republican, was it Pat Toomey from Pennsylvania, coming out, make a statement yesterday. You have Chris Christie out there, one of the president's best supporters, earliest supporters out there, with some choice words of his own. we'll see how it plays out, folks. But we got some stark numbers going on COVID right now, and it would be helpful if the incoming administration had the ability to make sure that, deploying these vaccines, it's going to be one of the biggest operations we've ever undertaken in the country and over the globe. A seamless transition would help that. These numbers, the COVID tracking project, folks, if you haven't checked it out, they do some great information where they get that data. It's all available right on their website, covidtracking.com. Their Twitter account alone putting out their numbers on a daily basis. I mean, you're talking about 1,000 deaths. Their last update, 150,000 cases. When you're looking at it on the charts, folks, whether it's hospitalized, I mean, we're accelerating at some peak numbers, and it's not even December yet, and the death number rising. So be safe out there. Thanksgiving, enjoy some time with your family, eat some good Thanksgiving stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry, all that good stuff. But stay safe when you're out in the public, because these vaccines are going to get out in the public. Some stark numbers here as we're dealing with cases approaching 200,000 on a daily basis. Stay tuned, folks. Be right back in 3 minutes. See what else we have going on Monday trading of Thanksgiving week. We'll be right back.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as...
Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P's up 14, NASDAQ up 31, the Dow up 131, putting it back on a 5 minute. So we got some volatility. Still haven't pegged what we had going on there, whether there was a headline or what it was, but a little bit of nervousness coming into the opening bell with 35 minutes to go, 8:55 a.m. this morning. And man, we get something going on as the S&Ps are oscillating around, currently up about 13 points, hanging out to gains with 35 minutes to go. But we were at 8:30 coming into the show. You're talking about we've given up 10 points right now in the S&Ps. All right, commodities. So crude caught quite a bit to 43.36 early in the morning. Gold backing off a bit and jumping over. We're going to end the program with, what are we going to end it with? How about Bitcoin? Friday, 18,880. We got close to that level this morning, folks. 6 a.m. this morning, we were up there at a high of, look at that. Look how close, 18,850. So we missed it by about $30. You're seeing some volatility on Bitcoin this morning as well. Pretty remarkable when you put it on a daily. The run we've had from the lows of March, even pre-COVID, at 10,000 to 4,000 to 19,000 almost. And we're approaching 20,650. The high, there has not been a shorting opportunity like this that I have known about in my lifetime, folks. I mean, the housing deal, right? There were some great people, brilliant minds. I'm sure made a lot of money as the housing market collapsed and people got way overextended, the banks, that whole deal. But not often do you have a cryptocurrency coming to the futures market with the ability to short that instrument in a regulated fashion, and you go from 20,000 to, on February 5th, 6,000. I mean, crazy, right? And you went all the way to 3, but you got that from December 18th to February 5th, a month and a half, maybe close, less than 2 months short from anywhere in that range. Even if you got it at 14,000, you were still down to 6,000 by the end of that. All right, folks, stay tuned. We got our man Larry Pesavento. He's coming up live next with Trade What You See. I'll be back at 10 o'clock with Tom. Fast Market by TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim at 11. I'm sure they'll be talking some good retail options plays coming up tomorrow like we talked about. Basil Chapman, Steve Rhodes, Dave White, Tom O'Brien, my dad, all this afternoon. Stay tuned, folks. Larry Pesavento is coming up next. We'll be right back.